talk a little bit about some of the good things about being in younger, older age, which is where I consider I am at the moment. George MacDonald has written, "Age is not all decay, it is the ripening, the swelling of the fresh life within that withers and bursts the husk." And I think that our logo on the website is of a cluster of ripe apples. And somehow, for me, part of being older is about the ripening and the harvest of the wisdom that we all acquire from life experience as we grow older. Richard Rohr, the Franciscan, talks about first half of life and second half of life. First half of life being when you are establishing yourself, your identity, your family, your work, and all of that. The second half of life, which is where I think I am now, is where it's more about the being than the doing. So that I no longer feel it is necessary, for example, to be, when I'm in my parish, my Catholic parish, which is very important to me, I no longer feel I need to be kind of organising things so much as being in the body of the congregation. For example, I've discovered that being part of getting older is that my singing voice has improved the older I've got, which is nice. But rather than sort of putting myself in the choir, I like to sit in the body of the church and sing from there, and that's where I feel my place is at the moment. In the summer, I went back to my hometown where I grew up, which is St Andrews in Scotland, which is a lovely old medieval town. And of course, as I was growing up in it, I didn't really appreciate its beauty. But I went back, and I went back with one of my sons and his wife and my teenage grandchildren, and we were there for 2 weeks. And when I used to take the children there when they were little, most of my time was spent sort of looking after the children and spending hours on the beach. But as they are older, I meant that I could walk around the town a lot and remember things from when I was a child. And that gave me an enormous amount of pleasure. And I think as you get older, you acquire experience, and storytelling is an important part of being older. So I hope I didn't bore them too much, but I told them quite a lot of stories about my childhood. And I think one of the things that interested them the most was when we were walking near where I used to live, and there was an old wood nearby, owned by a very fierce, we thought, landlord, and there was a bit missing in the fence, and some of us children, very daringly we thought, went into that wood, and we built a tree house in that wood. So it was all tinged with danger that this landlord, who was rumoured to have a gun, might come and discover us. And actually, when I walked past it with my grandchildren, the same bit of the fence was still missing, and you could still look into the wood. So that was good fun. Sister Joan Chittister is an American Benedictine, and she talks about the burdens and blessings of older life. And she says that the enterprise of embracing the blessings of this time, being older, and overcoming the burdens of it, that is the spiritual task of later life. And I'm finding that very important because there are burdens about being older and there are blessings. And one of the burdens for me is that my husband died a year ago, and that adage about living in the now, which we are all encouraged to do, is actually the best place for me at the moment in terms of coming through some of my grief, is to live in the now. And some of the blessings for me in older age, two that I can think of particularly, one are my 5 grandchildren. They give me a great deal of pleasure, and they are all very different from each other, and it's just lovely seeing how they are all developing and what they're interested in and what they get up to, and the naughty things that they do and the good things that they do. And the other thing, in terms of learning something new, which I think is a blessing of older age, maybe to have a bit more time to learn something new, is I am learning something about Celtic spirituality, and I go to a retreat centre in North Wales once a year, and we go and look at some of the sites of the Celtic saints in North Wales and on Anglesey, and I find that incredibly helpful to me in terms of my spirituality, and helps to ground me in the past. But actually a lot of the things that the Celtic saints were saying is very relevant to religion now. So I think that there are burdens of older age, but there are also blessings, and I'm trying to count my blessings and feel very fortunate to be in reasonable good health in order to be able to do so.